Hey again, this is Annie from potatoesandpearls.com, and this video is not the video that I plan to record this week. The video I plan to record this week, as I got halfway through the video, I realized it wasn't what I thought it was. Long story short, I was going to do a review of the Blue Apron meal prep box, and I realized what I thought the meal prep box was not what it was. So if you want to hear a review of that, it won't be any cooking. It would just me sitting down and the pros and cons of what I thought about the meal prep box. I can do a video like that. Let me know down in the comments. But I am going to be cooking in this video. I am going to be making chicken with a pasta side and a kale salad and an apple dessert. If you're interested in that, that's what we're doing today. If you want to hear the backstory of how I got to this meal, stay right here. If you are just here to see the food prep, you don't want to hear any backstory, I am going to put a timestamp down below. So let me play my intro and then we'll get into it. Okay, if you're here for the backstory of this meal, thanks for sticking around. So, a little bit of information about me. I collect cookbooks. Like, I don't know how many cookbooks I have in this house because there's so many. There's cookbooks on every possible bookshelf in my home. There's cookbooks. I love collecting them. I love looking at the recipes. I love looking at the pictures. It's just like something that I love to do. The problem is I do not make the recipes from the cookbook. So they sit on my shelves, they look really pretty, and I don't use them. I just look at them maybe for some type of inspiration, but I never make the actual meals out of the cookbook. So an idea I had for my channel, I may make it a series if this is like something popular, is taking a cookbook and making a full meal from the cookbook. So I grabbed a random one off of my shelf, and the one I grabbed was Cooking for One. I don't know where this book came from, but it was in my house. I've already looked through this book and I picked out a kale salad, I picked out chicken lemon rosemary, I picked out linguine, and I picked out an apple crisp. I am going to link this cookbook in the description box below, so if what I make looks really interesting to you, then you got it. You can go and get the cookbook for yourself. And so I am gonna make a full meal. We're gonna see how this goes because once again, I have never used my cookbooks. That seems so wasteful. So let's get started. So this is what the inside of the recipe book looks like for anybody who may be interested at the end on purchasing this book or looking for this book or whatever. The only issue I think I had with this book is that, so the recipes were really simple to read. They were pretty basic ingredients. It didn't seem like there was anything that I had to like go to a specialty food store for, but some of the recipes don't have like times for cooking. Or if it has a time, it doesn't give like a good descriptor. I'll get more into that the further we get into the video. So the first thing I'm gonna do is prep my lemons. Two of the recipes that I am doing require lemon zest, lemon juice, and slices of lemon. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that first. So this is just me cutting one of the lemons into slices, or I think a half a lemon into slices. I am going to zest one of the lemons off camera And that yellow thing that's sitting in the back is my juice. Like, it's a juice, like juicer, like if you were to do fresh squeezed orange juice or something, but it's smaller for lemons and limes, and it actually has a measuring scale on the side of it. I think I picked it up at Home Goods or Marshall's or something. I really love that thing. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll put one of the Amazon links in the description below. So I started boiling my water earlier. It's just water and with some salt in it, and I'm putting in the recommended amount of pasta. I think it said about 1.5 cups, but I just used my pasta measuring tool, one of those things that you can get from like the grocery store, the dollar store, that tells you what's 1 serving, 2 serving, and so forth. So I just used the 1 serving section and added like a couple more pieces. So I am draining the pasta with one of the, I guess you call it like a slotted pasta spoon, but this recipe called for keeping about 1/3 cup, I believe, of pasta water. So I just have that water, and it's supposed to be hot, and then the sauce needs to be mixed with the hot water. So I am adding in my lemon juice, and just for sake of making less dishes, I am just gonna mix it together in the pot I just cooked the pasta in. I'm adding in the lemon zest that I zested off camera. I'm gonna add in ricotta. I believe that's 1/2 cup of ricotta. And then butter, of course, because any pasta, good pasta, has butter in it. And then it says to stir those together. I like to just go ahead and use a whisk to make sure everything gets broken up. That butter wasn't as soft as it should have been. I pulled it out the refrigerator a little too late, so it did help that I had that hot pot so it could melt down. I did put the pasta back into the pot and mix it up with the sauce, and then I put it on the stove on low so it would stay hot when I finish the rest of my, or while I finish the rest of my food. So right now I'm working on the apple crisp recipe that was in the book. It's supposed to be a book where you have servings for 1 person. I will say, spoiler, it made what I felt was a little bit more than what a serving for 1 person would be. It actually gave me enough for my dinner and then gave me enough for lunch the next day. So I guess if you consider that like 1 person, so you get the 2 meals and 1 for the first day and 1 for the next day, then yeah. That was me cutting up the apples for this apple crisp. This, I will say, was like a 1 person serving. You just used 1 apple. It had me add in cinnamon, flour, and I believe nutmeg into the mix. And then with the oats and brown sugar and butter, it wanted that on the top. Once again, I forgot to pull the butter out in time to like melt it down, so I just cut it into like little chunks and put it in 3 different locations on top. And then I put my oatmeal, or the oat mix, on top of the apples. So this is one of those recipes where it was like, put it in the oven at 350 and then take it out when it's brown. But I like times, and it gave me no time. So that was a little frustrating. So I had to keep checking the oven to make sure I didn't overcook it. So now we're gonna work on that lemon rosemary chicken. So I've gone ahead and put oil in the pan, and it says to add in a garlic clove. I just already had pre-chopped garlic, so I just went ahead and put that into the pan. It's hot. I had the oil running for a little while. Now you can see it's bubbling. And then it said to put in the chicken. It didn't say to salt or pepper the chicken. It did say to hammer it out flat. I had already bought thin chicken breasts. I didn't need to flatten it anymore. But it didn't say to salt and pepper it. I'm trying to follow the recipe, so I didn't put salt and pepper on the chicken breast. It said to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. It didn't brown enough for me. But once again, I was trying to follow the recipe because there were more steps. So I let it cook. It got a little bit brown, and I went ahead and started making the sauce, which I put in lemon juice, as you saw. It said add in white wine. I used one of the white wines that was in my house. I think I used a Moscato, and I put in butter. Moscato is not a cooking wine, but I will say another spoiler, it made this taste pretty good for chicken that I feel like should have been browner. But I was following the book. I added in rosemary. It did say 2 rosemary twigs, but I already had dried rosemary in a jar from Whole Foods. So I went ahead and dumped that. Not dumped it, but I sprinkled it into the pan. And then I do add salt and pepper like it said at the end, which that is not my style. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I tend to season my meat, but I'm following the book. I'm trying to go in the steps that the book said. So now we're gonna make the dressing for the kale salad. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my olive oil. Then I'm gonna add in some vinegar. It did not say what kind of vinegar to put in, so I'm just using white vinegar. I guess you could probably use apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar if you wanted to. I'm putting in some garlic. It said to put in a clove of garlic chopped. I just reached for my pre-chopped garlic. It also said to put in mustard, but it didn't say what kind of mustard, so I'm adding in my favorite Dijon mustard from Trader Joe's. I'm adding in a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper as well from my pepper grinder. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. I have a jar that I keep at home for mixing salad dressings. It just makes good storage because it's already in a container and then it has a nice little pour spout. So I'm just gonna shake it up in that and add it to the salad at the end. I already measured out the kale for the salad and washed it and cleaned it. It's about 2 cups. It's probably a little bit more. I'm adding in my sunflower kernels. The recipe actually called for sunflower seeds, but I don't like eating sunflower seeds in a salad, so I put in kernels, which I do prefer. And I am also adding in croutons. That was in the recipe to add in croutons, so I just got some basic ones from the store. It did say to add in 1 boiled egg, but I was just not in the mood for a boiled egg for this salad, so I just didn't do it. And then it also said to add in Parmesan cheese. I used this kind, which I also get from Trader Joe's. I don't know, it gives like a nice classy feel to the salad. So this is the complete dinner portion of my meal. That's the chicken. If I were to make it again, I would probably salt and pepper it before and brown it longer. It did come out pretty tasty, but I follow the rule you cook with wine that you like to drink, so that probably helped it a lot. The pasta came out really, really good. I'm definitely gonna make that pasta again. I loved it. And the kale salad, it's a salad. I mean, if you don't like the consistency of kale, it's kind of a turn off. So you could use another leaf, but the dressing was really good, and I definitely will be making this dressing again. That's what made the salad, was the dressing. This is the apple crisp. It came out pretty good. I enjoyed it. The more I ate it, the more I enjoyed it. So the only issue I had was that it didn't give me a time for how long to cook it. So I think I had it in there for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then I was just like, this seems done. And so for somebody that maybe isn't like a good cook, that's not really helpful. I hope you guys liked this video. Once again, it wasn't the one that I planned. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to click the subscribe button. Let me know down in the comments if this was like an interesting video for you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!